Stop the cap.
All right. I want to talk about some other things, but this is what we're talking about now. And I got a video, a part two about Ebony K. Williams and some of the stuff that she agreed with in the interview because they covered quite a few other things, even things politically that had nothing to do with her dating choices or her lifestyle that she's trying to add men to. Um, I wanted to touch on that, but I wanted to get back to this whole CDC stats on, only, uh, 45% of black men, being fathers, and 54% of black men being single, and, or excuse me, childless, and 39% of black women being childless versus 61% of black women being mothers. And this is between the ages of 15 and 49. They actually increased it because um, before it was 15 to 44, and then they increased it to 49 because they wanted to encompass women who are at the upper end of their reproduction, right? So where by the age of 49, 80% of men who are ever going to become fathers, are fathers, um, which is again out of that 45%. When it comes to black women, it's 87%. So basically, the majority of people are done being parents by the time they're 50, which makes sense because at that point, people who are in their 50s, they're grandparents. You know what I'm saying? I know people now, who are in their, 40s who are grandparents, you know? So people are pretty much done having kids. That's why they went with that age group, that cohort, that population. And then the other, uh, 20% are the people who have um, kids after 50, which are mostly going to be men. And it's a small number. But in any event, 80% of men are done having kids by the time they're 49 years old, and this goes for all races of men. Moving on from that point, um, I feel like I'm pretty much done with the conversation on some of these topics because I can see how disingenuous the women are, in these conversations, and it goes into something else. It's not just the stats and just how much they're denying it. It's everything when you put it all together. And it's the money, it's the matriarchy, it's the basically black women drinking the Kool-Aid and wanting to be better than black men, wanting to be better versions of black men, wanting black men to be the pariah, wanting black men to be the problem, even when the stats say otherwise. I was having a back and forth with a woman because Cap had sent me a video, of he sent me a video of what the hell was it? It was a black woman talking about the hard hair for the soft life or something like that. Basically talking about black women who jump the fence and they get with Brad or Chad or Grant Wellington the third, and they always have these bad wigs. First off, many of those women are African, and African women damn near always have bad wigs. But like in right in the video, and I went and I had to search around, and I started picking up on this, which we've already known, which is how the women constantly frame the discussion as well, we had to go over the fence because there aren't enough available black men. That the scarcity argument, that shit is dead in the water. You know what I'm saying? With 54% of black men being available, to black women, y'all ain't picking them because y'all ain't interested in them. Based on personality, the fact you all are sharing more men than men are sharing women. 59% of black mothers have kids by multiple men, where only 32% of black fathers have kids by multiple women. That highlights the fact that women are sharing more than the men, have harems of women. If you have one Future, and Future has 11 baby mamas, he just created 11 baby mamas, and there's only one Future. Future only gets counted once. Future becomes a dad one time with his first child. But for the women, he's created 11 baby mamas, and then there's no telling how many babies they have with somebody else. Because I doubt they're just sitting around twiddling their thumbs. They probably got a baby with somebody else. So that's how you get to the 61% of black women are mothers, and 45% of black men are fathers, because you all are sharing the men that for whatever reason you deem to be desirable. Whether it's Future, whether it's the Nick Cannon types, whether it's Country Wayne, whether it's Shawty Lowe, whether it's NBA Youngboy, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's who was that guy in Tennessee that had like $11 to spread to all of his like 33 children for child support. They can only garnish so much away. Desmond Hatchett from Tennessee. He was on Inyala, I think, or Iyala, where she made him hold all the black baby dolls. You know what I mean? Because those were all of his children. I don't care. I don't care. Black women can sit there and they can try to talk about like the way that you're trying to frame it is incorrect. At the end of the day, you tell me what woman number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 was thinking. I mean, I got women running around screaming, well, men lie. How the hell you gonna lie about you got 11 baby mamas? Like how do you not run into that? How is his phone not blowing up? Like what are you, that dumb, that naive? Nah, I don't buy it. Maybe if a dude has one baby, he could hide that shit. But if the dude got 11 baby mamas or 33 baby mamas, nah, bitch, you know who the fuck that nigga's name done got around the community a million times over. Stop it. I think a lot of these women, especially in situations like Desmond Hatchett, these guys that are not famous now, these are ugly trash women that they just want a baby, and the only nigga that's gonna give you a baby is a dude like Desmond Hatchett. I mean, even in that CDC, I mean, the more educated you are, the longer you wait. People with goals and stuff like that, they're not so quick to go out there and try to have a baby. And they're not trying to have a baby underneath. They already have plans and goals for their own lifestyle and quality of life. They're not trying to bring children into the world underneath deprived economic circumstances. Those are the people that don't have a GED, don't have a diploma, didn't graduate high school, live in poverty. Those are the people, broken homes, those are the people that end up, during high school or shortly right after high school, end up popping out kids. And they think that that's just what you do. We're done high school. This is where life starts. You just have kids. And so again, there's a conversation that needs to be had with young black women, about, baby making. Deferring all of that responsibility on the men. First off, it's dumb, with the way that women run around screaming, "My body, my choice." That's just dumb. You all determine when life comes into the world. You all determine, who's getting pussy and who's not. Okay? You all determine, whether you're going to have that abortion or whether you're not. You all determine that. And y'all don't want to have that conversation. Even looking at, here's one on the men's side, right? Because looking at the numbers, it has to be, especially with the women that are under the age of 20, because there's the disparity with them and their male peers, has to be young women getting with, guys that are older than they are, slightly older. How many of these situations are guys that, like example, like if the cutoff is what was that, up to 20 years old, right? Like if a chick is 17, and the guy is 20, right? That's a 3-year difference. They could have still been in high school together. So he's being counted outside of that cohort. No, how old would he be? He would be 20. Nah, even if he was 21, he would be outside that cohort, because again, because it's high school, there's plenty of situations where you have 18-year-old seniors dating 14-year-old girls. I know it sounds crazy when you actually think about it, but when you go back and you look at high school, that's common. That's common. 18-year-old seniors with a license driving around and 14-year-old girls is a common occurrence. That goes on. And they've had some people in certain states, get jammed up. I think Marcus Dixon was the one got jammed up for that, because, and many states have adjusted their laws, to, like, this is not what we're talking about when these people are peers. It's not what we're talking about when we're talking about statutory rape. But regardless of that fact, and I don't know what the numbers are on that, we clearly have, and you see the same thing in the Latino community, clearly have issues of, older men getting with, younger women. When it comes to these women that are under the age of 20, popping out, some of these babies, because otherwise you would see, I think it was like, what was the number? I don't have it in front of me. I want to say it was like 32, 34%, for black women, and it was like 16% for black boys. Those that were having, kids between the ages of like 15 and 20. So I'm like, okay, these women have to be getting with older men, with older guys, right? But when you look at the grand total of the number, it's still not the majority of black men. That number of 45% fathers and 54% men that don't have any kids, again, it's a minority of men. And that's the part that, like, black women really, they, like, I've come across so many black women arguing in these comment sections that have said, no, the problem is black men, the black men. I'm like, who are you addressing? Who would you even be addressing? I got 61% of mothers and only 45% fathers. If you were even when you go on a talk show or a podcast and you say black men, like a generalized statement, what the issue that you're trying to rectify or correct doesn't apply to the majority of black men, but it does apply to the majority of black women. 61% mothers, only 46% fathers. 46%. I kept saying 45%. I meant to say 46%. I don't know why I say 45. 46%. So I mean, it like, I'm like, what I see is when you take everything into consideration, you just add it all up, right? I don't have to go to to like what I notice is, like, women will try to go to the extreme, right? Like, I see guys making dumb videos on YouTube, and again, you gotta remember that a lot of the bullshit on YouTube is directly tied to shock value and monetization. People trying to make a buck. If they go and they make a video that triggers you and you click on it, they get paid. Okay, so you always got to factor that in. But I don't need to go to the extreme of, like, example, somebody like Brooklyn Blue to make my point. I don't need to go into circles of, dark feminism and divine female principles and all the women that think all that nutty squirrely shit. I don't have to go into that realm. The women, they try to do that, with the guys by, going into the realm of just trying to find, like, some dude saying some wild extreme shit, like some Charleston White type of statement, and then be like, see, this is what black men are on. I don't have to go to that extreme. I can use a woman like Ebony K. Williams. I can use a woman like For Harriet. I can use a woman like Nappy Headed Jojoba. And these women that have all these views, about, they don't like patriarchy, everything is misogynistic, women want their own autonomy and independence, right? And women talking all this, a soft lifestyle, whatnot, and they're just running around, just confused, wanting to have it all. And when you really walk through it, it's like, chick, like you can't sit there and have it all. It doesn't work like that. Like they'll want like things that are completely contradictory. Like they'll want, I don't know, a traditional lifestyle, and then they'll turn around and then they're only attracted to savages. Like, it's like, yo, what made you think that guy was going to offer that? He's not that. This dude is like in and out of jail, drug dealer, all that shit. What made you think that he was going to be able to offer that? And then they'll have, his baby, and then they'll be out here a struggling mom, and then just be complaining forever. Like these women that are out here, trying to get with, Brad and Chad. I side eye some of these women, because I look at the frumpy ass white dudes that they get with. No doubt, some of these guys, these white guys, they got money, and they're older, but they're frumpy. And I look at like the standards that black women have for black men. It's like, yeah, you gotta have money, and you gotta be swagnificent, and you gotta have fame, game, money, or looks. You know what I mean? And you gotta be styling, and you gotta be, gotta have street credibility, and you gotta have street clout, and you gotta have all this other stuff. And then they go out there and they get with, Chad. You know what I mean? I shouldn't even use Chad, because white guys like to use Chad and say mega Chad and all that. I'm not talking about that Chad. I'm talking about that older white guy that's got the droopy neck and shit like that, and he's got a little bit of a belly and whatnot. His pockets are fat. He got money. You know what I mean? But I'm like, so you mean to tell me you couldn't, with 54% of black men not having any children, you couldn't find this in the black community? You couldn't find, a guy that can provide, this type of lifestyle that you're looking for? And I'm not talking about anything ridiculously extreme where you got Lamborghinis and all that other type of stuff. I'm talking about, the lifestyle that most Americans, dream of when they think of having a decent lifestyle. 2-car garage, 4-bedroom house, that sort of thing. The idea that you got to go to Brad and Grant Wellington III in order to get, that's cap. That's cap. The reality is a lot of y'all just don't like the personalities of the men that are within that 54%, and y'all need to just say that. They don't have the game, they don't have the swag, they don't have the charisma, all that other stuff. You know what I mean? And then y'all be running around screaming white. We don't buy it. We don't believe you. All the jumping up and down, all the thirst, all the anger when, the guys that you want are not interested in you, and then you run around screaming. I went to school with them. I know the black women that were only dating white guys and have been dating white guys since they were like 15 or 16. Those sisters, I know exactly who they are. I don't say nothing about them. They've been on that. It ain't no switch up. It's no course correction. It ain't no pink pill. It ain't none of that stupid shit. They've been on that. They grew up in the suburbs. They were initially attracted to white guys, and they've been attracted to white guys ever since. I know who they are. But these other women that are like, we need to explore our options. We needed this and we needed that. Nah, shit. Nah, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. You're mad because black men are criticizing you, and so you get resentful of that. But the truth of the matter is even when we talk about the things that, the areas where black men are weak and the things that need to be corrected, you all constantly want to be ahead and stay ahead of black men. The contradictions of Ebony K. Williams are just crazy. They're just crazy when she's talking about, I need a man that can keep up with my lifestyle and travel, and he paid for his own ticket and this, that, and the third. Ebony, you had that. Dude invited you to a 2-week vacation in the south of France, and Ebony K. Williams said, I'm going to be out in L.A. filming my show. I'm going to be at the lawyers convention. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no dust to be found. No, the issue with Ebony K. Williams, like many African American women, is they drank the Kool-Aid on the concept of their own awesomeness, and they think that they can end relationships and basically be the star and be the man in the relationship. That's what they think. That they're going to add a man to their program. It's the same thing that Keke Palmer did. that she's going to add a man to her program. She went out there and got with, light-skinned Dust. Got with a trainer. You know what I mean? Steve Harvey tried to hook her up. Like, look, I got some brothers for you. You know what I mean? Y'all be running around screaming, oh, there's such a shortage. Oh, there's such a shortage of black men. You know what I mean? But then you got, women out here that y'all ain't acting like that. Y'all acting like y'all got a full tank of gas. Like you just go out here and just dismiss all these men all over the place. You know what I mean? You again, 54% of these men are available to you, but yet you're running around screaming scarcity. That shit don't make sense. The fact of the matter is there's a whole bunch of other shit, a whole bunch of other reasons why, you're not compatible with these brothers. And these brothers know that they're not compatible with you, which is why, they're not picking you. They're not choosing you. Even the women that want to jump up and they want to scream colorism. Yeah, a dude can be colorist and you can still be on some completely retarded feminist bullshit. You can be on some completely retarded matriarchy bullshit. You can be on some, completely retarded, you want to demonstrate to the world that your dick is bigger than his. I'm like, okay, that's a wash then. You know what I mean? Even if you want to put colorism on him, he can't do anything with you, even if he wasn't colorist. You would still be the type of woman that a man would avoid and not choose and not pick. I'm just seeing like just how bad these women want to maintain the narrative that all of the problems in the black community, all the issues that black women have, right? Like all of them are based on, the evils of black men. Like when you look at that number, that 61% of black women are mothers and only 45% of black men are fathers. Okay? Black women are not being coerced into getting with any of these guys. The vast majority of these women, even when, like, you got to keep in mind, over half of the women who are mothers have kids by multiple men. They're getting with the men that they desire. The minority of men in the black community, they desire. They are choosing what they want. They don't want the other 54%. You know what I mean? That 54% encompasses men who have discipline, who ain't going to give you a baby. And that 54% encompasses men that black women, for whatever reason, deem those men to be undesirable. Now, some of those men may be undesirable. Some of those men may just be undesirable based on the standards of black women. You know what I mean? Like pineapple. Literally. Like the freaking NASA engineer, that they were pineapple. Yeah. There was nothing wrong with that dude. There was nothing wrong with that dude by outside the community standards. But inside the community standards, oh yeah. Nah, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have the riz. He doesn't have the swag. He ain't drippy enough. I'm just noticing, I'm like, damn, like, like I had one woman, she was like, where are you getting this 54% of black? I was like, the CDC. You know what I'm saying? And then she's like, or excuse me, no. I was shooting down. No, I'm sorry. I was shooting down that 80% of black men, have kids. I'm like, no, it's only 45. And then she goes, what did she say? She was like, well, I only believe the CDC. I was like, okay, well, here's the numbers from the CDC. I copied and pasted this shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, here I am. You say you only trust the CDC. I present you with CDC numbers, and then you still in denial. See, that shit like that. I'm like, I don't have any further words. You know what I'm saying? I don't have what do they say in court? I don't have any further arguments, Your Honor. You know what I'm saying? And then sit the fuck down. Like that's literally where I'm at. I'm like y'all been running around with these narratives. I give you the real numbers. You can go and you can analyze it, scrutinize it, look at it a million times, all you want. I only trust the CDC. Okay, well, here's the CDC. I mean, this shit is retarded. So I'm like, no. See, what I see, and this is, I mean, this is just the reality of it. I'm like, okay, so even when you're hit with information, you're resistant to it. You're not saying, oh shit, let me adjust my whole, my whole framework. No, no. You all are saying, well, I don't believe that. There has to be some way for me to finagle the numbers and manipulate it as such to where y'all have more kids than us. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. Men fuck who will fuck them. Women can fuck whoever they want. You can walk down the street and say, hey, I'm gonna give you some, and dude will be like, all right. Like, so y'all can go out here and you can get somebody to pump you up full of a baby. Ebony, don't tell me Ebony just had to go to the sperm bank. Bullshit. That she couldn't have got, even if the dude was a truck driver that she, hates so much. But I'm saying, she could, there's a whole bunch of dudes that would have pumped Ebony up full of a baby. But see, she don't want to be attached, to that type of situation. Right? She don't want to be attached to the dude and all that. She want to do it on her own. You see? Because she's got all that other shit going on in her head about wanting to run shit and not being told what to do and being independent and everything else like that. I mean, everything she says from Fox News, I went in there to stir shit up. It's like, well, I can see why you're no longer at Fox News. You know what I mean? Like, I went in there to stir shit up. And then what else did she say? It was something else that she was talking about, stirring shit up and being a rebel and all this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, chick, you doing too much. You doing too much. And again, Ebony was over the fence multiple times. I told you that shit. That's real patriarchy over there. Even that whole conversation of that she had with Teray about her sons, the white guy's sons not respecting women. Is it that they didn't respect women, or is it that they didn't respect you? See, it's patriarchy over there. You're not going to walk into that space and get that type of recognition. As far as those young white boys were concerned, you are the pretty thing on their father's arm that he is fucking for the time being. That is who you are. You are not someone to be revered or feared. And see, that's the type of reaction that Ebony K. Williams wants. And that shit doesn't get past me because there's many attributes of Ebony K. Williams that I see within my own mother. Because my own mother, again, I had to check her about that shit. She was like, I don't want your father showing up. I want them to listen to me based off of what I'm saying. I'm like, because they, I don't know, it was something. Somebody came over, they were doing landscaping or something, and they fucked something up, and she wanted it a different way, and what I mean, like they were like, I guess they blew her off or whatever, and she got charged, and I'm just like you're an elderly black woman, they're not gonna fear you like that. My own mother wants that type of reaction, and this goes right back to the Ali Wong and the Don Juan stand-up show that she did about, all the rewards that society doesn't give women, the recognition that society doesn't give women. And I don't know exactly how many black women are on that, but I mean, looking for that has definitely ripped black women right out of the space of their femininity. It's not a matter of, black men don't set black women up in feminine spaces. Y'all don't want to be in feminine spaces because those are positions of privilege. They're not positions of power. You all want power. Again, this goes back to what I said about Jared Taylor when he slipped up and said, who wants to give up power? What white people want to give up power? I was like, we can end this conversation about meritocracy. We can end this conversation about meritocracy, because if you're trying to maintain power, it's not a meritocracy, which is exactly what the Asian Americans are finding out now after they stupidly, got tricked into eliminating affirmative action. And now all these articles and pieces are coming out that are basically a reflection of ghost of white people past, where, again, these white people, they see too many Asians, they roll the fuck out. They roll the fuck out. They relocate. We don't want to compete with the Asians because they got strict rules, and they're not even people like that. They have tiger moms, and they get all type of extra tutoring, and I want my child to have a normal life and be able to get normal grades and still get into college. Can't do that with the Asians, out competing us. Which goes to show you, all this talk about, the black people, if they pull themselves up by the bootstraps, and the black people, if they got better grades. Amos Wilson talked about this when he talked about his integration and how, what it would look like if black people, all the students in New York started getting straight A's. Then you eventually would see white people getting real nasty, and they would be like, these jobs is for white folks. Yeah, see, it's a meritocracy as long as they think that you can't meet the standard. Oh, it's a meritocracy all day when they think that you can't meet the standard. But see, once you demonstrate that you can not only meet the standard, but exceed the standard and consistently beat them out in their own standard that they created, they don't want to play that game no more. They don't want to play that game anymore. Again, Yoda walked in the room. If so powerful you are, why leave? Yup. If so powerful you are, why leave? You see? And that's what they're on. And the sad part is that's exactly what black women are on when it comes to black men. They want to maintain the black men are dusty. Woe is the black man. We're just doing so great. Black women are awesome. Right? That's why you always get these women. Women will go out here and have an associate's degree and be talking shit because she's better than her boyfriend that, sells crack rock or some shit like that. And that's where they want to be. And when they come across a man that's doing better than them, they got to run off in the other direction. I got a friend of mine, his girl, she's I'll say she's in the legal field. She's high up in the legal field. And, he's killing it. He is killing it. He got the Lambo and the Ferrari, and he got, all this shit going on. And, their relationship fell apart because, she felt some type of way because, she felt that she was living in his shadow. She wanted to walk in the room and be the star. And when she walked in the room with him, people knew who he was, because essentially he was a public figure. And they didn't know who she was. And she felt some type of way. She's just like Ebony. Again, where is the dust? See, this is what y'all don't want to talk about. Y'all always want to talk about dust. You always want to talk about, these men, and they're not on my level, and this, that, and the third. Okay, what happens when you come across the men that exceed your level? Y'all don't like the fact that now he is center stage and you are not. Which makes a lot of y'all complaints about the dustiness and the community and everything invalid. They're invalid. You know what I'm saying? Like they're valid. They're valid complaints, but for you they're illegitimate. Your complaint is illegitimate because you don't really want it fixed. You don't really want the men to be ahead. One, because you won't be the star, and then two, because they will have too much control, and you don't want them having control. You recognize, what the steering, when you look inside the car, you recognize that the steering wheel is only on one side of the car. And that's where you want to sit. Which by default would mean that the man would have to be in the passenger seat. But the crazy part is you're not attracted to men who are in the passenger seat. You'll tolerate a man being in the passenger seat, to not be lonely, but eventually you'll get tired of driving. You know what I'm saying? You'll just get tired. You'll just get tired of driving. Men who drive all the time, you ever see men who drive all the time? They drive all the time. Them motherfuckers are giddy when they get in the passenger seat. They're like, finally. And what do they do? How do you know a man sitting in the car versus a woman sitting in the passenger seat? How do you know and even some of y'all women that have boyfriends and men that you're in relationships with, when you get in this car and that seat is all the way up eating the damn dashboard, you know that there was a female in that seat. When that seat is reclined like somebody was sleeping in that motherfucker, you know that shit was a man. Oh, I see you and Jamal must have went out last night. Why? because the seat's all the way back. You know what I mean? And then let the seat be eating the dashboard. Who was in here? My mother was in here. Oh, okay. All right. And your mother was in here. That's why. What are you talking about? That's why the seat's all the way up. Okay, I get it. You know what I mean? My mother be pushing that seat all the way up. I'm like, God damn. And it was so funny because my boy, go pick up my boy, and he'll get in the car and be like, yo, man, let's go get something to eat or whatever. And motherfucker be, hold on, man. God damn, why the seat all the way up? You sitting there, pushing the seat back and shit. Women be eating that dashboard, don't they? They be sitting there. I'm like, how do you even when they're driving? I'm like, how do you turn? How do you go hand over hand? Like I'm doing the wax on, wax off shit when I turn my vehicle. One arm, wax on, wax off. Y'all be doing that, hand over hand shit. That's why y'all be getting into accidents, because you damn sure can't swerve out of the way fast enough. Trying to fumble over your hands. Back the fuck up, bitch. Like, why are you in the steering wheel? You eating the damn steering wheel. But anyway, it's a whole nother conversation. But I'm just saying, they recognize that the passenger seat is a position of privilege. It is not a position of power. It doesn't matter how luxurious you make that passenger seat. It doesn't matter how whether it's gold plated and diamond encrusted. At the end of the day, it's still just the passenger seat. The steering wheel is not on that side. And black women need to be honest about the fact that they want the steering wheel on their side, or they want to do something as retarded as talk about, we need two steering wheels in the vehicle. We need two steering wheels in the vehicle. And the fact is that when it comes to black men, we don't want what y'all want. We know that shit's a trap. And y'all can scream colorism all you want. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. But I'm saying there are many other factors as to why a black man would want to date outside of the African American a cultural group. There are many other factors that go beyond colorism that cannot be denied. You all want the impossible, from black men. You want black men to go out here, build, maintain, defend, establish everything, and then hand you over the keys. Again, this is one of the reasons why, I said a long time ago, I was like, black women try to create these IOUs. They try to create these situations and these scenarios where black men owe black women. That's why they like to go out here and get the I need to build a nigga up type of shit. Even Ebony K. Williams at her level, and talking about the level and caliber of men that would only qualify, for her to date, right? Even she's up there talking about, I could make you better. I could upgrade you. Like, not realizing, again, how offensive that is. Like, what are you adding to it? Again, what are you adding to a man that's already awesome? And see, this is what the women don't like. They talk about soft life and living in their femininity and all that other stuff. Right? And I'm not saying that there aren't things that women can't do to be supportive, but it goes beyond that when you actually listen to what black women are saying when they make this point. It's said from a place of like you can't be your best self without me. That's what I hear. You can't be your best self without me. It's not a matter of, let me be, I see you already got your aircraft carrier. Let me come through and help and make sure that the fighter jets are organized on the deck, right? That's being supportive. But when you come through and you act like, I can help you navigate the 7 seas, like, bitch, he already knows how to navigate the 7 seas. It's an aircraft carrier. He's been around the globe multiple times. This bitch is nuclear powered. Fuck out of here. You know what I mean? But they come through and act like you don't even know how to navigate the ship. And this goes right into, the conversation about, I remember, talking about Latinas. And it's like, well, Latinas have attitude too. The key difference between Latinas and black women, even though they have similar attitudes, is the fact that Latinas don't try to grab the steering wheel. Yeah, they're spicy. Oh, they'll get loud. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they got something to say. Oh, they're very vocal, but they don't grab the steering wheel. Sisters will grab the steering wheel because, you know, not only do they think that you don't know what you're doing, they think that they can do better than what you're doing, even when you're doing it. So the whole concept, the whole premise of black men need to be better men and black men need to go out here and they need to, do X, Y, and Z, as though that's going to make black women change their behavior. I hate to tell y'all, but it's not going to make them change their behavior. If anything, and here's the stupid part, all it's going to do is loop back around and facilitate more feminism. That's what it's going to do. It's going to facilitate more feminism, because the more awesome you are as a black man, the more black women start feeling some type of way. They don't say, "Oh, let me get into my femininity and get into softness." No, they get into a situation with you, and then they start feeling like they start, reevaluating themselves. It starts to affect their own belief system about their own personal identity. And what I think it comes from? I think it comes from, see, when you shit on black men so much, and black men are just nothing, and they're beneath you and everything, and you that gets burned into your mind, right? It's burned into your hippocampus, right? When you believe that, what happens when the black man surpasses you? Now you start feeling like, wait, how did he surpass me? It's almost the same thing that what white people do. When white people be talking all that, pull yourselves up by the bootstraps and personal responsibility and all that other shit. And then when a black man is out here actually kicking ass, they can't handle it. They're scrambling for excuses. Oh, it has to be because of affirmative action. Oh, it has to be, how did this black man get here? Oh, man, I must not be doing well as a white man, because how did this black man surpass me? Weren't you the one talking about bootstraps, hard work, grit, and fucking blood, sweat, and tears? Weren't you the one talking that shit? Why can't it be this man, did all of that? You know what I mean? So you get this double talk where they act like they want you to be in this certain position, but they don't really want you to be in that position. They feel some type of way when you surpass them. Again, going back to Ghost of White People Past and all this shit about Asian white people, feeling some type of way and leaving these predominantly Asian school districts. They don't want competition. You know what I mean? They throw up a busy assignment because, they think that you're never going to surpass them. And then when you do, they feel some type of way. And I hate to compare black women, to white supremacy and white people, but I mean, you can see it all over the place. This is why a lot of black men feel like black women, are the white supremacists of the black community, that they're the right hand of white supremacy. This is why a lot of black men feel that way. Throwing up, all type of fucking busy assignments. I'll give you another thing that sisters will do, where it's like, they'll sit there and like they want a black man's money to be tied up in other things. That way, he doesn't have disposable power. He doesn't have disposable resources to do as he pleases with those resources. You see, as long as his money's tied up in other things, community or just, something else, right? And that's why the community conversation oftentimes, gets brought up, right? And it's funny because the women, they really don't want to see the money and resources go out the door. But if the money and the resources going out the door equate to them having more power in their relationships, some women would prefer it that way. That's the crazy part. I think that, as much as there's a direct correlation between black men being unemployed and underemployed and, black women not being married, I can't take that off the table, right? There are huge economic disparities between, let's say, the black community and many other communities. But by the same token, I also think that, when it comes to the black men that aren't in, dire straits like that, and they're not choosing black women, they're not choosing black women for a reason. Because this shit is cultural. This has nothing to do with you's a black woman and it's because of your blackness and black and black. It ain't got nothing to do with that. No, it's the culture. Many of us hate black female culture. And you guys have been in your little echo chambers, getting fed, bullshit by white media, you know what I mean? And it's gone to your heads, and basically you've become unmarriageable. Nobody wants to deal with you. Nobody wants to be in relationships with you. What do we get out of being in relationships with you? And this does not apply to all black women. This applies to the huge demographic of black women that are on this, that we see on a daily basis online. That always want to frame things, as, they are the victims, when it comes to, why they're not in a relationship and why nobody's choosing them. It's just because, black men just woke up one day and decided that they hated black women. Despite everything that I have stated in this video that we all know to be true. Again, you all are avoiding black men that have their shit together because you don't like the power dynamic. And you all refuse to be honest about that. If you go back and you listen to Ebony K. Williams interviews, and you listen to even the recent one that she had, with Touré, it comes right out. It comes right out. I need a man that can participate in my lifestyle. We don't have anything else to discuss. In my lifestyle, to be added to my program and what I'm doing. Because when a man was trying to add me to his program and had a 2-week vacation on the south of France, I made sure that I was too busy to participate in what he had going on. But now I'm running around talking about, where's the man for me to be added to my lifestyle? Yeah. Tail lights, bitch. Tail lights. Get the fuck out of here. We are rolling the fuck out. So like I said, the whole thing with the numbers and only 45% of black men being fathers, and the level of resistance, that I'm seeing, and going underneath some of these other accounts and challenging these women and saying like, look, this whole, there's a man shortage. Y'all need to stop with that. Even with the, well, what about the men in prison? It's only like 500,000. What I mean? You go with the men that are over the age of 18, I think you're at like 9 million. You only end up with like 6% of the population, 6% of the black male population. And mind you, these women are only focused on, the young men. You know what I mean? Like letting a 65-year-old man out of prison isn't going to help you if you're 28. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to factor in stuff like that. But no, there's no man shortage. There's plenty of childless men out here. The fact is, like I said, a lot of y'all don't want those men for whatever reasons. And contrary to popular belief, a lot of you don't even want the ones that got their shit together because you don't like the power dynamic. You know what I'm saying? You can always be, even if Pookie has money, you can always be better than Pookie. You can be on some Breonna Taylor shit. You a nurse, or whatever the heck she was, working for the fire department or whatever. She got the stable job. She's legitimate, right? But Kenneth Walker and Jamarcus Glover, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were in the streets. They were in the streets. So no matter what money they bring in, it's tainted. It's not legitimate money. So they can fuck with them, right? Checking those guys is always a 911 phone call away. You see, which, quiet as is kept, is how a lot of black women end up getting deleted. But that's a whole nother conversation. But they want to deny that. They like going out here fucking with savages, and then when the savage turns on them, then they want to cry about it. I'm like, no, you thought you was gonna go over there and leverage your legitimacy with a dude that was in the streets, and he let you know that ain't gonna happen. But I just, what I see from black women now is I see black women that basically act like white folks. It's just like that article. There was a study that was done at Harvard where, they asked people, would they rather make $200,000 and no, excuse me, $100,000 and everybody at the job was making $200,000, or would they rather make $50,000 and everybody at the job was making $25,000? And I don't know what the percentage was, but a lot of people took they'd rather make $50,000 and everybody make $25,000. Me, I'm taking $100,000. Like, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like I would take the 100,000. Like that's a no-brainer. But no, it's not a no-brainer to people who want to feel superior. They want to feel that they're better. In other words, the social currency of making more money than the other people at the job making $25,000 is more important to them than actually making, the $100,000. Giving them more money is not what they want. They want the prestige. They want the title. And for black women in America, the media has given black women, a taste of that. Even though we know it's bullshit, they giving them a taste of that prestige. That all that woman stroking and everything else like that. Oh yes, black women, you're strong and independent. Blah 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 blah. You're ugly as hell, but you're strong and independent. And blah 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 blah. Yeah, we're not going to promote your beauty, but I mean, hey, your careers and you're educated and you're successful and da 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 da. Yeah, they do that shit to disrupt the black community. Then you end up with black women who got degrees and bragging about their underwater basket weaving degrees but yet they're sad because they don't get to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated, right? They're sad because they don't get the thirst that white women and light-skinned women that have the likeness of white women, they don't get that attention, but they're women, so at the end of the day they feel some type of way because they want that too, but they don't get that. What they get is male recognition, male level recognition. And so, they ride on that for a while, but then, if they don't end up with, having a man or whatever, then they feel sad again. And then, end up with situations where the woman, I think some of that affects it does affect the way that the women look because, just like a man will be like, well, shit, man, I'm making money. So what if my health is in decline? And you get these sisters that, what I'm talking about, them broad-shouldered, tiny waist, manly looking black women that be in corporate America and shit like that. Don't look like shit, and they always got some weak ass dude that they're with. Yeah, and they like that because they don't got the looks. So yeah, I want to feel better than the guy that I'm with. So if I go out here and get with a Dusty or get with a dude, I at least get the recognition, from being ahead or having this career. I at least get that since I'm not getting the beauty recognition. And I don't even think that a lot of black women are all too conscious of that. They don't think it through. They just like, it's kind of like a knee-jerk reaction. Like, well, if I don't have this and I don't have, and I can't get the other thing, then what will I have if I don't have this? You know what I mean? So they guard that shit like a motherfucker. Just like what I said about these white guys. I'm like, yeah, if white guys don't have stability, what else do they have? Riz, game, swag, charisma. Like, what do they have? They don't have anything else. Their culture is not predicated on them having game and all the things that you develop, in a situation of depravity where you got to learn how to use your mouthpiece to get what you want. No. They don't have that. Their whole thing is, who my father is? I'm going to graduate and my father's going to get me in the door and then I'm going to make, $95,000, the first year, as an entry hire. And then it'll just grow from there. And it's like, yeah, that's all they do. That's all they know how to do. But you take that away, and then who the fuck are they? The only time you really get to see white men develop subcultures is if they're from, the country, or if they're in biker gangs, or if they like join the Marines. Those are only really subcultures that you see of white men, that lack resources. redneck, hillbilly, and bikers and Marines. That's it. Outside of that, you're supposed to be, the provider white male. And if you're not that, they're all fucked up. If they don't have that, what do? They start shooting up schools and malls and start screaming about the great replacement. I mean, I had a white supremacist that came over. He even had to reevaluate himself when it came to the great replacement. Mr. Roof shooting up the AME church, talking about the great replacement and you all rape our women and that, all that bullshit. But yet you look at the numbers and 45% of black men don't even have kids. So where's all this? Who's making all the babies and whatnot? It ain't black men. It ain't black men. Not with 54% of black men being childless. So like I said, I just feel like, I need to step back, from having conversations about, black women, because it's like, I'm like, no, these are disingenuous conversations. I'm like, you want to be the star, you want to be in the spotlight, you want to run shit, you don't want to be in the passenger seat because you don't like the power dynamic. I get it. I'm not trying to twist your arm or force you into anything. That's just not what I want for myself and the way that I want my relationship to function. So no, thank you. I mean, there's nothing else for me to discuss. I mean, what am I going to do? Sit around and just and bump gums with you about the power dynamic? You know what I mean? Like, nah. If this is what y'all want, y'all need to be honest about the fact that this is what you all want. You all want power. If you want power, and see, the thing is the reason why women won't admit that, because they know how ridiculous that sounds. They know that they won't have a leg to stand on if they were actually to articulate that that's actually what they wanted. They know. So like I said, I'm like, nah, now I know. I'm like, nah, you want us to be beneath you? You want us to be the problem? Even when we're not the problem. 60% of y'all are mothers and only 45% of us are fathers. You all are fucking a minority of dudes that, for whatever reason, because you deem them desirable. I'm like, the other 54% ain't have nothing to do with that. We can't even have a majority conversation about black men and fatherlessness. Most black men ain't fathers. So what is there to discuss? The only people who should be having fatherlessness conversations are men who are actually fathers. And from here on out, y'all need to articulate it as such. To the men that are fathers, not to the men that aren't fathers and will never become fathers. No. To the men who are the minority of men who are fathers. And again, mind you, you got that whole 59% of the 60% of the women who are mothers having kids with multiple men, and only 32% of the men, 32% of the men that are fathers out of the 46%, I keep saying 45%, out of the 46% of men, having kids with multiple women. I mean that shit is just crazy. Ain't nothing to discuss, man. It really isn't anything to discuss. We got a fucked up kids to resource ratio, and that shit needs to stop. And that responsibility squarely lies with black women, because they have final say, they have the power, and again, the numbers are so out of whack. You know what I mean? How we can sit there and talk about, you need to address the men. No, we need to address you. No, well, if you need to address us, you need to address us equally. It's not even equal in terms of the number of people who are parents between the genders. What are you talking about? Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.